Insurance fraud and intelligence-based counter fraud. What is insurance fraud? Why should insurance companies care? And what can insurance companies do about it? Insurance fraud is simply intentionally getting something of value that you're not supposed to by using deceptive means. In other words, lying in order to steal. Why should companies care about insurance fraud? After all an insurance company has to do is to raise premiums to cover the fraud losses. Wrong. Hundreds of millions of dollars are paid on fraudulent claims every year. What if we could save some of those premiums and attract more customers? How can an insurance company fight fraud? Companies have historically looked at insurance fraud as the cost of doing business. Just like a grocery store raises prices to cover the losses of spoilage, so do insurance companies price their policies to include fraud losses. The alternative is to fund a unit within the company to look for and attempt to deter this fraud. In the past 20 or so years, companies have done just that. Historically, these units, usually called special investigation units, have been populated primarily by former law enforcement personnel using investigative techniques that they brought from law enforcement. This isn't bad, it's good. These law enforcement techniques that they bring with them have been based on reactive methodology, investigating after the crime has occurred or in the claims arena after the claim has been made. While effective in finding the bad guys and gals, it really doesn't stop the financial impact on insurance companies. These investigative costs, claims costs, legal costs are all a part of the reactive process. The reactive process has some deterrent effect, but really it doesn't have that much that you can quantify. Why not find a more financially beneficial method, one that can be quantified and therefore is seen in a more favorable light by insurance companies and their senior management? As an insurance professional who's been in this business for over 30 years, I searched and searched for an effective counter-fraud solution. I found many great tools that would tell me what had happened, but couldn't tell me how to prevent it from happening. Then I found Globlue Technologies and ARKHOS counter-fraud. ARKHOS is intelligence-based analytics, and through the use of predictive modeling, can not only find what's already happened and develop comprehensive link charts, it can also tell you who's doing what, where they're doing it, how they're doing it, who they're doing it with, and give you a pretty good idea of what they're going to do next. Isn't preventing the crime better than investigating it after it's happened? Prevention is less costly. It doesn't interrupt the flow of business. It takes less human resource, and I could go on and on and on. How does ARKHOS do this? It does it by taking all legally available information and answering questions. These questions can be, where are my fraud losses? What lines of business? What coverages? What deductibles? What geographic locations? What agents are writing the policies where fraud occurs? What policies and coverages are most susceptible to fraud and why? Who's committing the fraud against the company, and on and on and on. A good analyst using ARKHOS counter-fraud can help answer these questions. With these answers, the company can better allocate its resources and focus on eliminating the fraud before it happens. Proper allocation of ARKHOS counter-fraud can save the company millions of dollars in claims cost. ARKHOS counter-fraud and a good analyst and a good SIU can use the analytical method to target fraud reactively as well. ARKHOS can find fraud indicators at the time the claim is turned in, allowing the investigators to get on the case from the beginning. ARKHOS can focus the SIU on the most important cases, find other linked cases and subjects, and help ensure that these cases with the most impact are assigned and investigated. ARKHOS counter-fraud used properly can help cut average net claim payments, decrease outside claims expense, reduce personnel cost, and positively impact other critical measurements used by companies to determine their effectiveness. But best of all, it can cut the cost of a policy to the consumer. I'll leave you with this thought. If, for a minimal investment in ARKHOS counter-fraud, you can reduce claims and indemnity costs by millions of dollars, how would that benefit your company? To me, that's a no-brainer.